Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of the Chrysalis Effect. I am Monique White, your host, and here in the Chrysalis Effect, we are transforming mind, money, and manifestations. How are you doing? I hope this podcast finds you well today. And as the title says, we're going to ask the question, or I am going to ask the question, can you dig? Can you dig? But before I get started, I want to encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Share this out to 3 people and drop me a comment. Drop me a comment, and I will surely respond to you. Well, without further ado, let's get to the topic. Can you dig? Now, you're probably saying, what in the world is she talking about? What is she talking about? Well, today's topic comes from actually a sign that I saw while driving down the highway. It was a billboard and it read, Stop the Stigma. Stop the Stigma. And the S, the T, and the I were capitalized. So the sign read, Stop the Stigma of STIs. Now, I found that odd. I still find that odd. Because two things, actually. One, stigma arises from knowledge. There's a knowledge aspect that attaches to it. So no one is going to know you have an STI unless you tell them. And two, and most importantly, is that the correct question, or is that the correct statement that we should be making? How about stop the transmission? Stop the transmission, because transmission is the real problem. See, the sign was focusing on the offshoots, if you will, the branches, the symptoms, the consequences of the root issue. And the root issue and the root cause is transmission of STIs. So, hence the topic, can you dig? Let's get down to the root of the matter. Because here's a conversation. Here's the thing. If we're talking mainly stigma, there's a problem with that. Because if you're having the conversation about an STI with your significant other, theoretically, that person cares enough about you and knows enough about you not to stigmatize you. That person cares enough about you and themselves to take the necessary precautions. Therefore, it defeats the argument or the proposition of stop the stigma. Then we go to, if you decrease the transmission, there will be no stigma to be had because there will be no spread. And you see where I'm going with this? And as I reflected on it further, it occurred to me that too often we focus on symptoms, offshoots, branches, if you will, of the real problem, that we just don't get to the real problem. Therefore, we can't make any effective change. This show is all about transforming your mind, money, and manifestations. If we don't deal with the root issues of a thing, then that transformation can't occur. If we prefer to deal with the symptoms, the consequences, and the offshoots of the thing, rather than directly dealing with the underlying causes of whatever that issue, symptom, consequence is, then there can be no change. There can be no change. So, can you dig? Are you willing to drill down to the root cause of what is holding you back from your transformation. And actually, I had to do this recently. Things weren't working out the way that I had planned in an area. And I had to look at it, and it's easy to get distracted. I will say it's easy to get distracted by the symptoms. By, okay, this problem arises, just deal with this problem, but without really dealing with why are we having the symptoms? Why am I receiving this result? Not just the result, but why am I receiving that result? And I had to go back and I had to drill down and really do an honest assessment of what is going on. And then ask, how can I deal with this? Because transformation requires honesty. We got to be honest about what's really, truly going on. And sometimes it may be hard to see. So it takes an intentional process, an intentional focus to drill down to the root issue, right? And only then can we deal with it. Only then can we deal with it. What is the root issue? What are the contributing factors? And how can we change it? Being realistic about what is in our power to change. Some things may be out of our power. We don't have the authority to change it. But what can we do to change it? And then it's doing the work. It's like if you're a diabetic, right? If you're a diabetic and your sugar's out of control, you can take insulin, but if you continue an unhealthy diet, you continue not to exercise, not making those life changes that need to be had, then your blood sugar is going to continue to be out of control. It's going to continue to have peaks and lows back and forth. You're going to be chasing after the 8-ball. If you continue to indulge in sugary sweets and sugary foods, fried foods, carb-laden foods, your blood sugar will be out of control. You could take the insulin, but it's only going to last for so long, and then it's going to wear off. And at some point in time, the insulin's not going to work, no matter how much you take. Because you have to make some lifestyle changes, some dietary changes for you to gain control of that thing. Just like life. We can put patches on things, but until we actually deal with the root of it all, then the problem is going to keep reoccurring. And we're not really truly going to have control over it. We're not really truly going to have any transformation. So we need to focus on the correct thing. Not the symptoms, not the consequences of the root of the matter, not little offshoots or distractions, but the actual root problem. And that takes focus, that takes honesty. So let's make a commitment to not be distracted by symptoms, by the little branches, but to deal with the root issues of the matter, to dig deep. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? And once you make that assessment, what's contributing to it, what it is, what's contributing to it, and what is in your power to change, then and only then can you have true transformation. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. This has been the Chrysalis Effect, where we are transforming mind, money, and manifestation. I am Monique White, your host. And if you want to connect with me, you can do so by going to bit.ly/evertransform. That is bit.ly/ever transform, or on all my social media channels at Triumph SBCS, or the website www.triumphsbcs.com. I hope that each and every one of you has an absolutely awesome weekend, and I will see you right back here next week in the Chrysalis Effect. Bye-bye, everyone.